Yeah, no
Yeah.
worries. Yeah. And then Keefe says, well, we wanted $1 million. I don't think that there was like, okay, I'll do this. How much you going to give me? Okay. Let's shake on it.
And didn't Keefe D alleged that Puffy offered $1 million to anyone who would take out Tupac or Suge? Or it was kind of unclear because it was just coming from Keefe D, but he alleges there was some sort of conversation where Puffy was like, you know, I need this taken care of, and there were words exchanged, and the $1 million figure gets mentioned. What are kind of your thoughts on what Puffy may have said or may not have said to Keefe D and other guys who were Crips? Kind of like, you know, I doubt that Puffy was getting up on a podium at a convention center with Crips and was like, hear ye, like $1 million offer on Tupac and Suge Knight's head. But like, what do you think was kind of the vibe of the conversation, and what do you think may have been said by Puffy to Keefe D or someone else who was a Crip who would have interest in taking out Tupac and Suge?
So it's again, it's very nuanced, and these nuances are really important. I don't think Puffy really had this objective, like, I want these guys assassinated. What do you want? And, you know, I think it was just much more nuanced, like out of fear and desperation. And sometimes out of fear and desperation, you say things that are a little over exaggerated, or, you know, you don't fully understand the meaning of your, you know, that your intentions are not necessarily what's coming out of your mouth. And so I think out of that fear, you know, he's like, man, I got a problem with these guys. And KPD's like, well, shit, so do we. You know, basically, they're our enemies. You got a problem with them, so, you know, yeah, we'll handle it. Well, you know, we'll give you guys whatever you want. You know, just that, like, out of fear. Give you guys, just take care of this problem, make it go away. Yeah, no worries. Yeah. And then Keefe says, well, we wanted $1 million. I don't think that there was like, okay, I'll do this. How much you gonna give me? Okay, let's shake on it. You know, it wasn't like that. These are just a couple guys sitting around talking shit, and Puffy's talking out his ass out of fear, and Keefe's listening, and Keefe's like, whatever, man. You know, Keefe's already rolling in money at the time. And so, you know, it's like, yeah, whatever, we'll take care of it. Yeah, and of course I'm gonna, you know, if it's taken care of, I'm gonna expect you to pay me something. Yeah. Right. And because, you know, even though he's rolling in money, Sean's bucks up. Right?
Yeah, I think I don't know what his net worth was at the time, but now it's like $1 billion, like something crazy. Like $1 million to him is like if you lose a $50 bet, like that wouldn't be insane.
Yeah, so it's and Keefe D's going to exploit that. He knows that Sean's just, you know, Sean's not a hard street guy that, you know, if Keefe's going to press up on him, Sean's probably going to bend. Yeah, and so, yeah, I think that that's the situation. I think that Sean said something that he didn't truly mean, but it was taken seriously. And then once Vegas happened, once Orlando Anderson got sucker punched by Tupac, man, it was on. That was, you know, that was.
And that was in the MGM lobby after the Tyson fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, September of 96.
That was. You talk about like Puffy being scared, like acting out of fear, not really, you know, being about that gang life. That was one of the most eye-opening things about the book, because I went into reading it thinking, you know, like all of the names that I've heard in folklore surrounding the Biggie and Tupac death, all those guys have equal gang affiliation and equal activity, and they're all just like in the soup. And Biggie and Tupac are like all doing that shit, but like also rapping. But everyone's just like having the same gang level of affiliation. And then as you point out in the book, like there are a lot of names, like big names involved with this, like Puffy, that were like just like affiliated in the definition sense, where it's like they just knew guys that did that stuff. They weren't like living the Crip or the blood life on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly.
There were like a select few number of guys involved in the case that were gangbangers, and then other people were more just kind of like entourage, hanging out, making money in the music industry, but also like just not rejecting gang members from hanging out. Like, kind of sounds like it was just like a mingling of sorts, like a mingling of different level of guys, all the way from someone like Puffy, who had a lot of money and like probably had some friends that were gangbangers, and then down to, you know, people who were dealing with cocaine suppliers and like Keefy D, and then slinging on the West Coast and East Coast and like living it every day, and that was their business. So that was something I was like, oh shit, like I would have never known that if I didn't read Murder Rap, because that, and that's also like just having that in my brain while I'm going through everything gave me a better understanding of the psychology of what someone like Puffy may be feeling, why he was so self-aware of that fear. And I can only imagine it's because he wasn't living that life. Like he wasn't constantly around it. So maybe it's seen like I'm sure it seemed more out of sorts for him, where he's like, dude, I could fucking die. Like, whereas someone else who's in a gang might be like, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I could die, more chill about it. Like,
yeah, because his value was greater in a certain degree, is because, you know, he had worked so hard to be successful. You know, he had hustled and made the moves that he made in order to capitalize and be really successful. And when you work really hard for something, the threat of having that taken away is tremendous. You know, it's a tremendous fear of knowing that you could lose everything you worked for. And so, you know, whether it's because somebody's put a bullet in you and taken it that way, or, you know, set you up and you lose it through some type of you know, criminal activity. And so I think that, you know, Sean was just like, fuck, this is out of control. This is just out of control. And I have a lot at stake.